Shoeing horses is something that has been done for thousands upon thousands of years, as horses were very influential in the mobility of people before cars were invented. According to inventors.org, iron horseshoes started being used in the 13th and 14th centuries. It's crazy to think that we still use the same practices they did back then, even through today. Shoeing horses is a very controversial topic for some people because they believe that it interferes with the ethics of owning a horse, as you are putting nails into that foot. But in my opinion, I feel like shoeing horses is not a bad thing as long as you have the proper farrier to do it with and there is a need for it. According to an article written by Duncan Peters, optimal performance can be proportional to the attention placed on trimming and shoe placement on the foot. This is very important because horseshoes are like human shoes. If your shoe doesn't fit right and move with the arch of your foot and have everything fitting properly, it's not going to be comfortable. And horses can't talk to us like we can other people, so they cannot tell us that that hurts. Another example of how shoes are beneficial for horses is, according to Equimed, properly designed shoes can alleviate stress and protect the legs and hooves. So we have a horse here where I live that has navicular, which is when the bone in the bottom of the foot starts to turn, and it causes a lot of pain for that horse. The only way we were able to make her sound, which means like she's moving as she was designed to move, is we put shoes on her that had a rubber pad that was about an inch thick, and then a packing gel under that pad to alleviate the pressure from that foot when she steps on it. So that gel was absorbing the shock and she was able to walk and become sound again, which is very exciting for us because she actually just had a baby, and it's very important to us that she feels the best while she is taking care of that baby. Some of the negatives that go along with shoeing horses is, according to an article by Hilstrud Strasser, a risk of using shoes is deformation and contraction of the hoof. So what this means is if the hoof is, let's say it's bigger than the shoe that's being put on that hoof, it can make that hoof start to conform to that shoe, but that's not a good thing because those bones aren't conforming, they're just contracting. And there's something that is called, when their heels contract, that means the back of their foot starts to come together to try and kind of adapt to that shoe, but it starts smushing those bones. We had a friend, a very good friend of ours. She had a horse ever since she was young. His name was Skitter. They had taken him to a farrier that they thought was reputable and ended up not being. And he had contracted heels on all 4 feet, which caused navicular up into his leg. And they ended up having to put him down because he was in such discomfort all the time. They didn't think it was fair to continue to work him and ride him. Even keeping him in a pasture was uncomfortable for him, so they thought that was the best alternative for him, which is very upsetting because he was a wonderful horse. Another risk that you come across with in using shoes is nails. So obviously, to attach the shoe to the foot, you have to use nails. These nails are about 1.5 inches long and can vary in thickness, but when using those nails, they have to be driven up into that foot. And while the actual wall of the hoof has no feeling, the sole does. And that's where having a reputable farrier comes into it as well, because they will put it into the wall where it's supposed to be, which doesn't cause any pain or discomfort, or they can drive that nail into the sole, which causes a lot of problems. Not that particular situation, but what happened to my personal horse was she had her shoe put on and she was out playing in the field and her shoe ended up getting twisted. And because of it twisting, that nail did get into that soft part of that foot, and it did make her really lame. And we were unsure what was going on for a while until we were able to get that foot all picked out and realize that that shoe had actually physically twisted and that nail was going into the soft spot in her foot. Shoes do have a long list of pros and cons, much greater than what I have talked about today. But at the end of the day, using shoes is something that is, first of all, someone's personal preference, but I think they're very beneficial. We have them on every single horse we have on our property right now, all for different reasons. It helps protect the foot, just making sure that everybody has their needs met. But I do also have a personal horse at home that doesn't need shoes. She doesn't require them, so we do leave her barefoot. So that's kind of where the owner has to determine what's the best for that horse. Jim Crawford, a professional farrier, made this statement: "No foot, no horse." This statement should be taken very seriously by all horse owners, because you have to listen to your animal and kind of talk with them in a nonverbal way to figure out what they need and make sure all of their needs are met when it comes to their feet, because that is the most important part of a horse. Thank you.